Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Centrovert. It's a crazy time right now in the world. Everything that's happened with COVID-19 or the coronavirus. It's a really crazy situation. Probably, putting up these videos might not mean much in the grand scheme of things, but since a lot of us in many parts of the world are being asked to practice social distancing, might as well put up content and contribute to the fragrance community, I guess, in the only way that, we can, or the only way that a video like this can. To get into the content of this video, I don't know if this will be the first video that I'm posting since my short hiatus. You can see here that this is the new background I'm going to be using. So this may be the first video that you're seeing me do this, or it might be a little bit, maybe the third or fourth video. It depends on when I decide to upload this one in the order that I decide to upload it in. But in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is a bunch of fragrances that I essentially blind bought because, where I live, it's kind of hard to get samples, and a lot of stores don't have these types of more obscure, well, not obscure, but they're fragrances that aren't like mainstream fragrances, right? So you can't find them in those big department mall stores like the Bay or Nordstrom or Halt Renfrew here in Canada, in Ontario, where I'm at. So a lot of times it's not very easy or quick or efficient for me to sample fragrances. So I just try to do my research on all the online perfume encyclopedias and then make a purchase based on kind of what I'm looking for, and also based on the research that I've done. So these are the fragrances that I'm going to be talking about. There's 6 of them. And just to let you know, like, the reason why I'll be doing these videos is because these blind bought fragrances, it's kind of a deliberation of me to figure out whether I'm going to actually keep any of these. Whether my nose particularly, like my opinion, is not something that is the holy grail for every person who lives into fragrances, but just based on my opinion, to state whether or not that I like these fragrances and I'm going to keep them in my collection. So, okay, let's just start now. The first fragrance I'm going to talk about that I blind bought is a Cerruti fragrance. Essence de Cerruti. Okay, so let me just get out the box here. This is a 30 milliliter bottle, very small, good for the price as well. Let me just quickly show you the sprayer here. Yeah, the sprayer is actually pretty good. I mean, I have to say, and even the cap as well, it's actually a pretty heavy cap. I don't know if it's metallic. I think it's partially metallic, but for what it is, I mean, for what it is, which is this is 30 milliliters. I think I got this for like 25 bucks Canadian. It's actually not that cheap for the type of stuff I'm going to describe right now, but essentially this to me is one of those leather scents that is a light leather. So like you can compare it to Ferrari's leather essence or even Ferrari Uomo. It's a scent that's very linear, and I'm smelling it right now. I've also worn it a couple of times at most. It is, I think there's a place for a scent like this if you're a beginner and you're kind of going beyond your blue or mall drugstore fragrances. I think this is a very beginner leather scent. It's honestly, the notes that I pick up are sort of like a peppermint, or sorry, not peppermint, but like peppers and then mint. And there's also saffron here. I don't know if I pick up the saffron that clearly, but what I do pick up is a sort of cardboard. Okay, I don't mean to insult this fragrance, but there is a bit of like a cardboard accord to this. And I don't know if that's their attempt to infuse sort of like a Swedish type note in this fragrance. But to me, it's it's something that made me not want to keep this fragrance. So, as in terms of whether this was a good blind buy for me, I'm gonna say no, it was not, and I'm thankfully going to return it so I can get some money back for it. But I feel like from what I've smelled and what's in my collections, you see part of my collection is in the background over here. This is a fragrance that if you have not smelled this fragrance, you wouldn't be missing out on anything if you never got a chance to smell it. It's not that special. However, for what it is, it's not bad. And if you're someone who's looking for like a beginner suede leather sort of smell, similar in veins to Ferrari Uomo and Ferrari's leather essence, then I guess this would be a place to start. But this fragrance is sort of getting hard to find too, in terms of finding on the reputable online discounters. So yeah, that's L'Essence de Cerruti by Cerruti. Okay, so the next fragrance that I blind bought. Okay, and this one probably you people would know about this. It's called Tabac. Okay, this is an old school fragrance. This is your talcum powder, shaving powder, old school fragrance, and it has aldehydes, okay? It has aldehydes in it, and that aldehyde smell, if you want to kind of get an idea what that smells like in the opening, it smells similar to Johnson & Johnson's baby shampoo. Like when you put that on your hair, you put it in your hand to rub it on your hair. If you use that stuff back in the day, the opening of this, and this is not even a spray bottle, by the way, this is a splash bottle. Okay, so you have to the distribution is not bad. As you can see here, it actually you don't have to worry about it spilling. You do have to kind of shake it for it to come out. But yeah, this is a splash bottle, so just keep that in mind. And it's the eau de cologne concentration. So anyways, going back to the smell, it opens up with that Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo aldehydic type smell. And then it transitions into this very powdery, talcum powder type or shaving powder type smell. And it just stays that way for the duration of the scent's life. Which, because it's an eau de cologne, for me, it's like, 2 or 3 hours. Me personally, if you're someone who's in the classic men's fragrances, I mean, this is a classic. It's been around for a very long time, and it's still in the markets now. Very easy to get online. On online discounters. I personally would prefer, even though people on For Granted are saying I'll go for the eau de cologne, I tried out the eau de toilette, and I feel like that fragrance has more going on. Like there's distinct stages in that fragrance that you can pick up, like the tobacco base, and you can pick up the kind of salty, creamy sandalwood part of this fragrance as well. And obviously the opening has to give it a little bit more of that citrusy aldehydic note as well. But yeah, if you're someone who really is wanted to, kind of engage in some nostalgia and you really want to try out this fragrance, I would suggest starting with the eau de toilette first, because there's more in that fragrance than the eau de cologne that you see here. But in terms of me keeping this fragrance, I'm not going to keep it because to me, this is one of those fragrances that is a little too dated for my taste to comfortably pull off in public. Like to have people smelling this on you at work. And on top of that, this particular, and I'm talking about the eau de toilette there, but the eau de cologne is not bad, but it doesn't last. It's like 2-3 hours. And it just smells like talcum powder or shaving powder for the most part. Okay? So for the 20 or something bucks I pay for it, it's not, I'm going to get my money back for that. I'm not going to keep this. So that's Tabac Original, the Eau de Cologne. Okay, so the next fragrance that I blind bought is one that is discontinued. A lot of people talk about this fragrance, they hype it up. And that's none other than Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal Cologne. Now, I have to say that this fragrance, the grapefruit note in this fragrance is probably one of the most high quality, realistic grapefruits notes that I've smelled in the fragrance. And just look at the bottle. This is the classy, Guerlain presentation as always. The cap is heavy. I don't know if it's metallic or whatnot, but it's a heavy cap. It feels weighty. And just look at the sprayer. I love the sprayer on this. It's just a good sprayer. When you feel it in your hands, I know you may be able to see it properly there, but when you feel it in your hands, and how the mist comes out in a very uniform and strong way. It's just an amazing sprayer. But in terms of the smell, I'll tell you right now, for a fragrance, I can see why people like this fragrance. I could also see why. Well, actually, I can't see why this was discontinued. But I sort of can see. Let me take that back. I can see how this was discontinued, but for the most part, I can see how people who are into fragrances and appreciate the art of fragrance can give a lot of hype to this, because the grapefruit note here is very realistic. Okay, like it gives you that sour grapefruit as opposed to like a sweet candy grapefruit. This is a sour grapefruit note. And then not too long after the opening of that grapefruit, you start to get like this Coca-Cola type vibe mixed with the grapefruit. And I don't know if that's the almond or not, the almond note, but it sort of gives right away, it gives, I don't want to say like an alcoholic drink, but there is this vibe of like not a rum and coke type smell, but there is like a feeling that it gives off like this, not a mature, but a sophisticated alcoholic drink smell that has a grapefruit and I guess Coca-Cola flavor. And that's pretty much what this scent is for the majority of the scent life. Maybe at the end, you're going to pick up a little bit of vetiver and more of a clean vetiver, I should say. And that's about it. But for the most part, you're going to be getting that sort of fragrance. And it does last for a citrusy spring and summer fragrance. It does last a good deal of time on your skin. For me personally, though, there is something about this that makes me gag a little bit. Okay, when I smell it, especially up close. So for me personally, I'm not gonna keep it. However, if you're someone who's looking for a summer spring scent, I would say this is one you'd want to get, because obviously the stock is drying up. This is a 50 ml that I got for about 30 to 35 bucks Canadian. That's a pretty good deal, but the prices I can see are going up now because obviously the stock on this on online discounters are beginning to dry up. So if you're someone who is interested in a realistic, almost sour grapefruit note with a bit of a Coca-Cola type smell with it, and in the late dry down you might get some clean vetiver, this is a scent to pick up for sure. So that's Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal Cologne. Okay, the next fragrance that I blind bought is actually one that I would have kept had I not had a fragrance that in my collection that already smells very similar to this. And that's from the Clean brand. Okay, and it's called Clean Sueded Oud. Okay, now this fragrance, man, this is this brand, by the way, Clean. I think they're pretty much notorious for using like high quality or mostly natural oils, right? And I'm telling you right now, this scent. Let me just show you the sprayer here. Yeah, the sprayer is good. This scent and the cap is like literally like a wooden cap. But this scent, it's very similar to a fragrance I already have in my collection. So unfortunately, I won't be keeping this fragrance. But it's very similar to this fragrance I already have, which is Ard Al Zafran's Dirham. Okay? So both of these fragrances are very natural in terms of their smell. You can see their Dirham from the Middle Eastern house Ard Al Zafran. But the opening, I say for this, it's almost like a typical rose oud opening, okay? Very Middle Eastern. However, it's a type of rose ouds that is more conducive to warm weather. So it's more airy, it's not as thick, but it's still present, okay? but the quality is undeniable. I got this from perfumeonline.ca. I think those are that's probably the only online discount that I know that's selling it for a decent price of about 45 bucks Canadian for this. I think it's 100 ml. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think it's 100 or 80 ml. I'm not entirely sure. But it's the quality is undeniable. And in the late dry down, you do get more of the rose goes away and you get more of a musky oud scent, a little bit of a darker scent, but it's still very airy. Now, this one is very similar to the opening because it has almost like that same rose oud type opening. However, the performance on this, to me, is better than this one, although both of them perform well for what they are. And I also must say that this fragrance, as well as this fragrance, they're very unisex. And the opening can be considered quite a little bit more on the feminine side, not too feminine, but they're definitely more on the feminine side. The thing with this fragrance, though, is that it doesn't develop that much from what you smell when you first spray it, whereas this one develops. It changes. The dry down becomes more masculine. It almost becomes more like a very airy cedar type smell that some compared to, not a Green Irish Tweed, but maybe a Royal Oud or Reflection Man. Actually, this guy does get compared to Reflection Man if you see the review done by if he shares on this. But yeah, this has two distinct stages in my opinion. This one pretty much is for the most part linear, but the quality can't be denied. Okay, so that's Clean's Sueded Oud. Again, I'm not going to be keeping it because I already have a fragrance in my collection that's very similar. I'm going to get my money back for that one. On the next fragrance that I blind bought, okay, and this one is discontinued, so it's hard to find. So I was actually very surprised to see that FragranceBuy.ca had it in stock. And I was like, I wanted to pounce on it because this is very hard to find. And it's very hard to sample because it's pretty much discontinued now. But that is Mugler. Thierry Mugler, pure wood. Okay? This is the pure wood one. This is the one I've been looking to get. And you can see there, it's 100 mil. If you could see that, probably, yeah, 100 mil pure wood. So I'm very glad to have got my nose on this finally, but I must say, it kind of falls flat for what I was looking for. I mean, for a scent that's called pure wood, you would think you'd be getting a very strong, woody, natural woody smell. But that's not what you get here. In fact, the oak note, which is supposed to be the note that's providing the wood, I guess, accord in this, isn't that strong. In fact, the biggest accord that I get in this fragrance is almost like a chocolate milk powder. Okay, so that's something to recognize with this fragrance. All right, so as I was stating with this fragrance, Thierry Mugler's Pure Wood, the most dominant accord that I get is a chocolate milk powder type accord. So don't get this thinking that you're gonna get this strong, realistic wood, almost like you're at a carpenter's shop type accord. That's not here in this fragrance. And then on top of that, in terms of the base note, you will pick up vanilla. You will pick up sort of like this soft sweetness, almost like a slight coffee note, maybe coffee and patchouli. But don't think that it's going to be as strong or as in your face as the other Amen flankers, and obviously not as strong as the original Amen. So that's one thing you have to know about this fragrance. I think this fragrance is actually good if you're looking for a signature scent from that Amen line that is more reserved, or I guess more classy. Because everything about all the steps of this, all the parts of this fragrance, they're all kind of like muted. You know, that in your face patchouli, tar, coffee type notes in the base of all the other Amen flankers. It's not here in this. And if that's something that you're looking for, you're actually going to miss that in this fragrance. And on top of that, if you're thinking that you're going to get a strong woody note here, in my opinion, based on the testing I've done, you won't pick that up here. Instead, for me, what I pick up mostly is like this chocolate milk powder accord, and maybe with a little bit of oak there peeking in the background at points during the scent light, but it's not prominent, right? If you want to, and also the other reason, other than this one that I just described, as to why I'm not going to be keeping this, let me just show you the sprayer as well. Sprayer sucks. You can see that. Sprayers with these bottles suck. They always have, and that's not changing with this fragrance. But one of the reasons too that I am not going to keep this is because I already have a fragrance in my collection that actually is, it actually does live up to its name as a woody fragrance, and that is none other than Versace Woody, which I think should get more love than it already gets in the community, because this fragrance right here is another niche type smell offering from this Middle Eastern house. I mean, look at just the bottle. Look at the bottle that was put, the effort I was put into the bottle, by the way. And this is, again, is a very cheap fragrance you get for like $30 to $40 for the 60 ml. But just look at the bottle. You talk about a fragrance that has wood in its name, and the bottle is actually wood, okay? And it has sharp edges, by the way. It's not sharp enough to hurt you, but it has sharp edges, and then the writing on it is actually engraved in the wood. I mean, this is really live up to its name. And in terms of the smell, this straight up smells like a carpenter's shop when you first spray it. I mean, it's very dry, almost like sawdust. And the beauty of it is delayed dry down, where you get sort of like a clean vetiver note peeking through. But predominantly, to me, what you get is a combination of dry woody notes, and it's a combination. Like, apparently there's oud in this. Obviously it's not real oud, but apparently there's oud in this. There's obviously several woody notes, other woody notes. Like the back, it'll tell you it has sandalwood, and I think cedar, Virginia cedar, and another type of wood here. I think there's also pine wood, apparently. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of, whether they're actual real natural oils or just, synthetic substitutes. When you spray it, you will definitely feel like you are in a carpenter's shop, or literally just smelling all different logs of different types of wood. And obviously on top of that, the sprayer is clearly much better than the Thierry Mugler sprayer. So yeah, this fragrance, the reason why I'm not going to keep this one is because I already have a woody fragrance that actually lives up to its name. And this one doesn't, and also because this one's hard to find. I mean, it's discontinued pretty much. So if I were to finish that bottle, I probably wouldn't be able to get another one. I won't be able to get another one easy at all, right? But it's not as, given the name, it wasn't exactly what I was hoping for with that fragrance. So that's Thierry Mugler's Pure Wood. And then the last fragrance, and it's certainly last but not least, is Lalique, the Horsehead. Okay, so that's Lalique pour Homme Equus is the name they call it, but it's really the only difference between this and the other Lalique pour Homme is that the logo here is that of the horse's head, whereas the other Lalique pour Homme, which you actually see in the background in my collection there in the bookcase, is the lion head. So this one, if there was any fragrance that I was going to keep as part of the purchases that I made here, these blind buy purchases, it would have been this. But I'm still not going to end up keeping it because there's something in this, I guess just for me and my body and my nose, it also makes me gag. Like the Guerlain fragrance I just talked about previously in the video makes me gag. And I think that the note that's causing me to gag here is just the juniper note. And juniper, in case you want to know what that smells like, it's sort of like a gin and tonic with a berry type undertones, okay? So that's what you get here. So it's very fizzy. And this is, by the way, this is the eau de toilette. Okay, it's eau de toilette of Lalique pour Homme. But it's very fizzy, the opening anyways. And then later on, but still in a very airy way, you start to get remnants of this woody note. That's a very unique, exotic type wood. It's a type of woody note that I haven't smelt before, and I think they're trying to call it a sequoia wood or a Brazilian, I think Brazilian rosewood also is in this. I'll have to check the notes. I might put up the notes here for this one because this one is so unique in terms of what it's trying to do. And really, I have not smelled anything quite like it. But for me, in my nose, there's something in this fragrance, the juniper accord here, or juniper note, that just causes me to gag. So I can't, for that reason and that reason alone, I'm not going to keep this fragrance. I'm mostly going to return it and get my money back. But I say out of all the fragrances that I just discussed, this is the one that I would have kept had I not had that sort of gagging reflex that I get sort of when I smell this fragrance. But it's very good, man. This is a signature scent all year round type smell. Some people are comparing this on Fragrantica to Spice Bomb from Victor and Rolf. No, this is definitely not that. This does its own thing. Had a juniper fizzy opening, and then it starts to dry down in a very smooth way, almost in a way you don't even realize it's happening. But you start to pick up on that sequoia, Brazilian, kind of like a red woody type smell. It's very unique. I've never smelled anything like it. People were saying that it smells like a hamster's cage. I can see how some people say that, but it's not. That's not in a bad way, because it's kind of sweetened up and done in a way that's very reserved and refined, and in a way that it smells good, man. It really does. But just for me personally, it sort of causes a bit of a gag reflex. And I should say too that maybe the EDP version of this might be different, a little bit better, and maybe in certain parts or certain notes of the fragrance. This is the EDT. And for me, the EDT for my money is an all year round scent. It really is a signature scent, whether if you're into this type of smell. But this is a scent that I would say you'd want to sample if you're able to. If not, and you want to risk a blind buy, I would try the EDT first before the EDP. Or if you're really brave, just get the EDP first, whichever one is your call. But yeah, this is definitely another quality release from this amazing house that gives very unique fragrances for a very good price. So that's a Lalique pour Homme Equus. So that's brings me to the end of my video. Just to summarize, those are 6 scents that I blind bought after doing a little bit of research, and based on my first impressions and based on my personal taste and how I react to them, I'm not going to be keeping any of these. But if I was going to keep any of these fragrances, as I stated, it would be this, and it would be Guerlain. Actually, Guerlain's Long BDL as well. So both the Lalique and the Guerlain I would have kept had I not had a bit of a gag reflex, or just kind of, it just doesn't agree with me, these two fragrances, even though I recognize that the quality in them is quite high for the price. So anyways, I hope you liked that video. I hope you guys are staying safe in this crazy times right now with this coronavirus, and hopefully I can continue to put out content to kind of add and contribute to the community in these crazy times right now. Like, comment, subscribe, holla back.